Hi there. So, as many of you that have watched this channel, many of you came from there, started a TikTok a few months ago. And I had, heard that it was bad and that I shouldn't do it and all this stuff. But I've been really pleasantly surprised with the interaction. Now, I'm going to point out a few things that I do think are going on and something we need to be mindful of. Because for an adult, I think TikTok's great. For a child, no. I don't think so. My kids, the reason I started it initially is because I found out that my daughter, who's 9, her friend, who's 10, has one. Now, I get on there and like most of her videos only have like 10 views and stuff like that, and they're not too bad. But, I told my daughter how I felt about it and different things. Now, as of this point in time, my daughter's not interested in doing it. And she doesn't even like the app. So I asked my son about it, and he had downloaded it for about 6 months. And because a couple of his friends had it, but he didn't like it because of all the time that it takes up. It does suck you in sometimes, or you end up interacting with people and you spend more time on it than you want. Now, it's a lot better as far as content creation, though. It does not take nearly as much time to create content on there as it does on YouTube, because you've only got a minute at a time. So, and you don't really want to, sometimes you can do part 1, part 2, even part 3 if it's really interesting, but more than 3 minutes, you really just don't want to do. So, it's a whole lot easier to come up with a minute's worth of content than to go through an entire presentation. Of course, you can't cover everything that you need to, but it's a good way, to link someone to a YouTube video. You talk about something for a second, and then, because TikTok does link. It has a button that you can just click right to somebody's YouTube channel, which is kind of nice. But one of the concerns, that I've heard people talk about is privacy concerns. Well, I get that, but let's just be honest here. We have been tracked by the dark forces in control of this realm, or whoever is running this realm that is outside it, for millennia. Before, during, and after each incarnation. Okay? So, our data's already known by those that are actually capable of, doing things. So it's really just not, I see it as no different than any other one of these tools. You don't have any idea where your data is going or anything like that. And most likely people are, trying to use the data. I set intentions that, I don't consent to certain things. I don't consent to identity theft. I don't consent to, and it is what it is. Whether it works or not, who knows? But it doesn't hurt to say the intentions. Let's put it that way. I've not had problems. But like the empty vessels, the evil, they're controlled by the demiurge anyways. That's a hive mindset. It's all known. Everything on us divine soul, it's all known. That's one reason why, your innermost thoughts make you pray. Like if you pray your innermost thoughts out loud, you become prey, because any unseen energy can take those and use them against you. If you're going to pray, please do it inside yourself. Even I think Jesus said to do that. Okay. And like Jesus, I do feel there was a man named Jesus. Well, his name wasn't Jesus. There was a man that the story that Jesus was based off of. And he, he had a much higher awareness. And his message was good. But, half of it was taken out of the Bible. Really should read the Nag Hammadi. But that doesn't have anything to do with this. Okay, so we're watched, and then there's the concept of the watchers, the giants that are potentially outside that have imprisoned us in here. you know, prism, like light prism, as in human, as in light being trapped in these, it's hard to say. We could be in a prism, literally in a prism. Okay, but kids' accounts are targeted and shown more explicit content, while someone dubbed as a parent is shown more wholesome content. And, you know, it's very much, I mean, yes, they say that it's to cater the algorithm to you, and maybe to some extent that is, but at the same time, somebody that's watching something graphic, they're going to get more things graphic. Somebody that's watching explicit content is going to get more explicit content. And my son and I have done some experiments on this. He gets stuff that shows like violent accidents being taped, and like, you know, just violence. And I don't get any of that, okay? So, yeah. And he gets more sexual content, of course, than I do. You know, and so I don't really think it's for kids. I mean, you know, maybe a 16. I mean, my son's 16. I mean, I'm okay with him being on it. I mean, he's a good boy. And, I mean, I know, like, you know, I don't know that it's going to influence his choices that much, that he saw a couple of bad TikTok videos. I mean, I don't think that it's going to turn him into some raging pervert or anything like that. Hell, he's, as far as teen boys go, I mean, yeah, I mean, he's just really, he's a good boy. And anyways, so I downloaded it in the first place to see my daughter's thing. So for an adult, it's fine. It's actually really nice. I like the fact that there are awareness groups for almost everything, be it ADHD awareness, addiction awareness, autism awareness, mom groups, abuse survivors, everything. I mean, there's addiction, or excuse me, there is a support group for everything, an awareness group for everything. And it is an app that encourages creativity. I mean, you know, somebody's always coming up with some really cool challenge, or you're putting, you know, someone else's sound on it, or you can add, I mean, it really does encourage creativity. It encourages people to, which I think a lot of adults have a problem with, it encourages them to let loose and to be more fun. And, you know, and if they see people that are like successful and serious people that are like on there dancing like this, I mean, it makes people more likely to do that. And, you know, a big part of us changing this reality and making this reality into a more enjoyable reality is to seek more joy and to have more fun and to let loose and relax. I mean, we've got to comprehend that a lot of this shit doesn't matter. I mean, I see these people stressed out and high strung, and they're like all like fretting about all this stuff that I used to. And I wish I could tell them exactly how I turn that off. Like, you know, like sit there and worry yourself to death about something stupid you said today for like, I mean, when the person that you said it to wasn't even thinking about it. I mean, I don't know. Something just clicked in me one day. And I tell you, I mean, I lost everything at one point. And that really, really, really showed me that a lot of the stuff that we think is important isn't. And, like, you can completely go without it in your life. You know, and during that time that I lost everything, I really have been really removed from programming for the past, like, 7 years. I don't watch television. I don't. And now I've been so removed from it for the past couple of years that, like, when I get in the car and listen to the radio, I mean, the advertisements is painful. It's painful. Or the commercials and stuff that I hear, like with this just repetitive mind control. It's really bothersome. But anyways, it does encourage acting silly, you know, it encourages interacting with others. I mean, I like the way that you can respond to somebody's comment with a video. Now, granted, there are people that use that for hate, and there are people that use that for good. I had a guy yesterday tell, oh, it's called makeup. You should try some. It's like, yeah, okay. I don't need makeup. I don't even like makeup. I mean, first off, I'm not this body. Second, my body is, you know, been a good one. I mean, I'm quite pleased with it. I mean, it's really not giving me that many problems, and it's okay. I mean, I look okay without makeup. I look okay with makeup. I mean, you know, and people are, oh, you have deep lines in your forehead. Well, I've been stressed most of my life. I do this. I mean, it's like, what's wrong with these people? I mean, you know, so it's all you people acting like that that have been lines in my head. Oh. And no, I mean, even if I had the money, I don't think I would get Botox and stuff, you know? It's like I've earned these. And if you only knew everything that I've been through in my life, I look pretty good for 40. I thought I was going to look a hell of a lot worse. I'm saying, I'm sorry. But you know, and these people do this with the intention of making you feel bad. And it's like, look, once you've actually, once you're comfortable in yourself and, you realize what's going on here and that we're all, just broken and torn down by this programming and we're, and man is blamed for everything and all this. I mean, here you got these people in the garden milling around and all this. They're cool. They're chilling, Everything's fine. And it's that God being that comes in there talking about your crap. The one thing that is bad in the Old Testament and all that, the worst thing in there was the God being. I don't know. Ugh. So yeah, too many people in this world are, programmed by the Matrix. They're under the program of the Matrix. They think that, if you're 5 minutes late, it's going to matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, let's just stress ourselves out all day long because I was 5 minutes late. Oh my God, they think I'm a bad person because I'm 5 minutes late. People. I was never that bad. But I've known people that bad. It's like... two things that I was taught in rehab that ring through my head a lot, come up a lot when I see people complaining or when okay, one, when you're in a room, in a crowd, and you're sitting there thinking, you're uncomfortable, and you're sitting there thinking, are they looking at me? Do they see that stain on my shirt? Do they notice that I didn't iron this today? Did they whatever? Okay, first off, humans are very, very self-centered creatures, and 9 out of 10 of them are sitting there wondering the exact same thing if you're looking at them. And then the ones that aren't, they're not paying a lick of attention to you, and they would not notice whether or not your shirt, now if your shirt were on fire, hopefully someone would notice. But seriously, people are, Juliet, honey, what are you doing? Where did that water come from? So anyways, I've seen on TikTok, by a few people that TikTok saved their lives. And, I can really see that. Like, if you're really down with, mental health and stuff like that, it's really, it's a neat tool. It's a really neat tool. And, at the end of the day... Okay, hold on. At the end of the day, with all these, technology, the internet, all this, it's, it's how you use the tool. Now, TikTok saved their lives. And I can see that, especially with the, if you've got mental health, suicide. Okay, sweetie. Suicide, mental health, addiction, stuff like that. Really, or if you're isolated, if you're, either by choice or maybe because of a medical condition or whatever. It really does give a way to interact. Much more interaction than YouTube here. It's really cool. You can go live on there after you get 1,000 followers, which really isn't that hard to do if you're a content creator. There are going to be 1,000 people that resonate with you if you, take the time to do a niche. And like I said, I mean, it really is a lot easier to create content on there. It's cool. I wish more people would create content, because I feel that the more of us that shared our stories, you know, it would help somebody. I mean, you know, the one thing that's important about sharing your story is there's going to be somebody that hears it, that resonates with it, and it's going to let them know that they're not alone in their thought process. And I mean, with certain things, that can save someone's life. I wish I could put into words. Oh, the thing I was talking about the rehab. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me say those. Okay, so everybody in the room is thinking about it. You know, everybody in the room the people are self-centered. Okay, the other thing that I learned in the rehab that I found really profound was this. Let's say you're going to something, a wedding, okay, and if you have an expectation in your head of how that wedding's going to go ahead of time, like be it whether it's going to be bad, whether it's going to be good, whether it's going to be whatever, and that, you know, or that such and such is going to end up fighting, or that such and such is going to, no matter what you envision, it's not going to turn out that way, okay? But you have set up these expectations in your head, and that's going to have a subconscious effect on how your time goes. Like, if you had pre-programmed in your head that it was going to be this horrible, horrible time, but then it turns out to be fun, it likely is not going to turn out to be as much fun as it would have if you didn't have the preconceived notion. And the same thing, and then with people, and so then when things don't meet our expectations, we build resentments. And so then with people, you would do something like, let's say leave the house all day and expect that your child wash the dishes, okay? But you don't tell the child to wash the dishes. You want the child to take his own initiative and do that and all that, and the kid's not going to do that, most kids. But instead of saying to the child, you know, I need you to wash these dishes before I get home, you just set up this expectation that the kid's going to wash the dishes. And then when you come in and the dishes aren't washed, and you haven't communicated to this child that he's supposed to wash these dishes, you're resenting the child for not washing the dishes. But you didn't tell him he was supposed to. Like, so much of our stress and our worry and all this is a lack of communication or improper communication. So instead of setting up a bunch of expectations, you let events unfold as they're intended. You don't, like, you know you're going to a wedding, but you literally have no other, let's see what happens. And you can plan what you're going to wear and how you're going to look or something like that. But as far as anything about what may happen there, you don't do it. And then with people, you know, if you really examine your behaviors and when you get mad and why you're mad, and the example I gave with the dishes, if, you know, if you look at it and like, and especially if the kid says, you didn't even ask me. It's like, oh. And we've got to get better at being more open with our communication. I mean, you know, some things are hard to say, but it's a hell of a lot easier to say it at the beginning before something bad happens and you've got to explain a whole bunch more. You're just better off to just live a life of rigorous honesty. Be honest with yourself and be honest with others. And the only time that you ever embellish or, you know, skate around something is if it's going to do more harm than good. So, and if we would just man up and either say, you know, hey, this really bothers me and I would like, you know, could you try to do this? Or, I mean, yeah, I mean, we just got to do better at listening and communicating and all these things. And like, it's just crazy. I mean, people like, this one woman, this poor woman the other day. So my ex-husband's been going down a rabbit hole for like a year. And I mean, now he's slow going, but I'm just shocked that he's doing it at all, okay? And so we had a conversation about he asked me what I thought about QAnon. And then we were talking about, he was asking about like child trafficking, and then he asked, and then I said something like, well, you need to look up adrenochrome. And he's like, and I told him what that was. And so anyways, he didn't respond after the adrenochrome thing. He hasn't talked about that again. But we did talk the next day at a soccer game of my son's about some of the scamdemic stuff. And he didn't wear a mask to the game. And I was like, well, I might come down to the game. He was like, well, you can. I don't have a mask on. But anyways, so this woman comments, and she says, well, I hate to break it to you, but he was showing off for his friends and making fun of you. I was like, really? Huh. It's funny because he was alone at home. He doesn't have any friends. I wish he had a friend to make fun of me with. I mean, maybe his sister's the only person he talks to, but he and his sister both are going down the rabbit hole together. In fact, it's his sister as to why he's even going down it at all. Well, I've probably helped, though, because, I did talk about a lot of this stuff for, like, the 10 years we were together. It would, come up, throw out there that, that's evil. They're pedophiles. Something like that. And he would call me crazy then, but now he's like, I kind of turned into you. But this lady, and she's like, well, and he was just making fun of you to his friends and texting and, screenshotting it to his friends and all this. I'm like, honey, this man, I couldn't have paid this man to have an affair if I'd have wanted him to. This man came home every night. He was happily married. He was completely oblivious to the fact that his wife was about to commit suicide. What? I mean, and she's like, well, some men do. She was like, well, men do that. It's like, so obviously this lady has been hurt by, men who have done something like this to her. And she has pinned it that all men would do those kinds of things. Yes, many men would. Many kids would do that. Many teen boys would do that. My 50-year-old husband, ex-husband, not so much. Not so much. I mean, I'm kind of glad he hasn't gone out on a date. Because honestly, I mean, I don't know what kind of woman would take him. I mean, my dumb ass got duped. I get that, but I'd be a little scared. I mean, and then somebody have to handle my kids. And, oh, my God. I mean, I'd try to make it work out the best I could. I mean, but she just would have to get over the fact that I'm still the cleaning lady and I still spend Christmas Eve here and cook Thanksgiving, sweetie. We can cook it together. I mean, that's what we do, so that all three of my kids can spend Christmas together. And so this woman is sitting here, I mean, like, completely. And so I do a video comment back to her, and I'm like, honey, I don't know why you felt the need to say all this stuff to a stranger that you don't know, but that's not the case here. I mean, he's legit been going down the rabbit hole for a year. I mean, she's like, well, I was just trying to educate you to what he's doing to you, but you don't want to listen and blah, blah, blah. And still, even after I told her, ma'am, I mean, you don't even comprehend. He doesn't even have it. I mean, literally. I wish he had somebody. Hell, I'm probably one of his best friends. We certainly get along a hell of a lot better now than we did when we were married. No, that's for sure. So, some people just don't know what they're talking about. And it's the assumptions, man. And now, I know the assumption is make an ass out of you and of me. But I don't really feel like it makes an ass out of me. You are trying to make an ass of me, maybe. I don't know. Oh, and one more thing. So I thought of this when the other day I did a video on TikTok, but I haven't mentioned it on here. So I've been looking at words a lot lately. So the internet is a net on the interior of this reality in our planet, the planned net, the planned netting of our consciousness. The internet is another net on the interior that we are likely putting our consciousness in, possibly virtual reality inside of virtual reality. So, yeah. We got to be careful how we use these tools and what kind of intentions we set, and don't spend too much time on them. I really do. I try to limit my screen time because over the past year, you know, during this pandemic and stuff, I got to the point where I was spending way too much time on there. And it's like, no, I gotta get back outside and do more. So, just gotta be really mindful. It takes a conscious effort to just stay alert and stay aware of all of the ways that we are attacked. So, I'll end it at that. Have a good day. I hope this makes some sense. Thanks for watching.